Greetings, Legionus. Arndelft here. So, I had a dream last night, and I just want to share some of it before I go forgetting it. So this episode is sort of going to be like a dream journal, because I've had a lot of really intense dreams that have made my mind just go, and then I don't properly record them, most of them. So this is me just trying to get that out there, because I love it when something sets off the creative juices and inspires me. Anyway, so, while I was dreaming, while you're dreaming, your mind locks on to certain characters that you know. Well, absolutely. While I was dreaming, my mind locked on to the character of Vala Maldoran, played by Claudia Black in Stargate SG-1. Abso-fraggin-lutely. So, that was the main portrayal of, the main character in the dream. The secondary character was Dr. Lamb, also from Stargate SG-1. I don't know the actress's name for that one. Anyway, though, so I had a dream starring these two main characters. I didn't really ever see anybody else that I could actually identify, just, vague figures in the background. Anyway, the figure of Vala was sitting on a gurney as Dr. Lamb was walking with it. She wasn't pushing it because she was looking at one of those Atlantis tablets. She was studying it. I don't know who or what was pushing the gurney. Maybe it was self-propelled. I don't know. With that level of technology, perfectly capable of happening. Anyway, as she's studying it, suddenly Dr. Lamb comes to a dead stop, and the gurney just stops with her. And Vala asks her, okay, just give me the news. Don't try to break it to me softly. Just tell me. So that's when I get the impression there's some really bad news buildup going on here. I'm like, ooh boy, what's going on here? Anyway, and that's when Dr. Lamb starts telling her there is no bad news. And Vala just kind of like, she was just like waiting, braced for it with her eyes closed. And then she just kind of pops her eyes open, looks over at her. And you see Lamb like looking at this chart. Her eyes just kind of like, her face just going, holy. And she's just like, you're completely human. You're as human gets. Fact is, you're more human than me, arguably. And this is where I'm taking a little bit of license here. This is where a lot of the details of the dream got foggy. And at this point, my imagination is taking over. And from this point in, it's less the dream than it is me filling in the blanks and taking inspiration from the dream. Anyway, I know that was a very short part of the dream for me to get so much from, but there was a lot of emotions in the dream that I have a hard time telegraphing over, and this is what that led to. Anyway, Dr. Lamb is looking at this. She's just like, you are not only human, you have no genetic defects of any kind. You have no mutations of any kind. You are weirdly perfect. Like, your body is resistant to changes of any kind. You get a... Like, you told me that when you get tattoos, your body tends to reject the tattoos. It just rejects them. And until you get, like, you mentally accept the tattoo. Like, you want it there so much, your body not only accepts it, but if the tattoo gets removed, the tattoo will come back. Your body learns how to create the tattoo through, natural means. So you're literally able to project a tattoo onto your body, things like that. She's like, your body is literally what you make of it. It's just like, your interconnectivity between your mind and your body is on a scale that I've never seen before. And this is where I take from my own universe. Because in my own universe, super soldiers, they're that way because their minds and bodies are so... They've learned, and I emphasize the word learned here, they're not just born this way. They've learned to completely control their body over time, which would take gargantuan efforts here. You would have to have, to be in complete control of your body, the amount of incalculable things that your brain is doing with your body all the time just to make a movement or to breathe or for your immune system to function is absolutely gargantuan. She's in control of these things. all the time in the back of her mind without ever really realizing it because she's so used to it, and she can't remember a time when that wasn't the case. And these are things that she shared with Dr. Lamb. Dr. Lamb did not believe her, and now she's starting to see the massive level of just like pure connectivity. Whenever a like new bacteria or a virus or anything enters Vala's body, she becomes aware of that. Consciously aware of that. And as such, she's more capable of identifying and fighting it, especially when she herself examines modern diseases and viruses and begins to, you know, understand what can help counter them. When they enter her body, she's that much more capable of combating them because her body is aware of everything she's aware of on that level. Anyway, and Lamb is just like looking at this, just going, and your energy level, like the natural energy your body creates, is on a scale I haven't seen. Like a normal person would die from the amount of energy you've got in your body, yet I can touch you and I don't die. And Val's like, unless I want you to. And Lamb looks at her and is like, what do you mean? It's like, I have been able to not only touch someone and kill them with just a touch, by either overloading their body with my own energy or by neutralizing it. And Lamb's like, wait, you can just neutralize the energy in somebody else's body? She's like, I've done it before, and I don't even have to touch somebody. I've actually, through a sealed, locked bulkhead door, killed someone who was trying to imprison me. And I did that while mortally wounded at the time. And Lamb's just like, explain. It's like, well, I was in a place where they were experimenting on me, and they were trying to kill me in 1,000 ways. And Lamb's just like, whoa, wait, they actually killed you? It's like, yeah, they would kill me over and over. They weren't necessarily trying to torture me. They were just trying to see, like, what it would take to kill me. And they would blow off, because it took serious violent acts to cause me any harm, because of I have slowly grown and adapted and grown more durable over time, and it takes more and more. Every time they killed me and I came back, it took more to kill me. They eventually had to get an artillery cannon to blow my head off with. And Lamb's like, oh my gosh, that could not have... Wait, how do you remember that? And she's just like, well, it's really weird because I actually remember that. I genuinely remember that. And what's more is, after my head was blown off, I was still aware. And Lamb's just like, wait, your head wasn't just... Your head was removed and you were aware? Or she's like, no. My head was vaporized. It was gone. And my body was pretty heavily damaged. But I was still cognizantly aware. What's more is, I was able to take control of my body while in this state. It was an out-of-body experience that I then forced myself back into my completely broken but regenerating body, which they hadn't bothered to restrain due to the state that it was in. Like, I had been blown loose of the restraints that they had forced me into by this artillery thing, and obviously I was dead. But regenerating, so they didn't bother to re-restrain me yet, and so I took control of my body and began to systematically kill everyone in the room. And that was actually when I got loose. I was literally without my head. I was headless. I had lost my head, and my body was horribly mangled, but I still managed to get out in that state. I don't know how to explain it. It was an out-of-body, half out-of-body experience. Getting back into my body at that point was painful. My body wasn't sending me pain signals. Like, I'm aware of what's going on with my body at a cellular level, like, even, I feel like, beneath that. And getting back into it before it was ready, it was trying to jam into my head everything that was wrong. And a part of my body being missing while I got back into it felt violating. It felt horribly violating. It felt wrong. And it made me sick on a level I can't even tell you. But once I was back in my body and I forced it to start moving, when I touched someone, it was much easier to kill them. So I started killing everybody who had come into the room to examine me and was celebrating and blah, blah, because they could tell that I was still alive and regenerating. They were like, oh, wow, this is amazing. This is the next step of evolution. Well, none of them were the next step, and I ensured it. And I went through and I killed every last one of them. I don't know exactly how I locked the doors. I was able to just overload the bulkhead doors and just jam them all electrically shut. Nobody got out of that room. And then once I'd killed every last one of them, I then started opening up doors and making my way out. And I don't know how many people were just working there who had no idea of the experiments that were going on. I didn't have time to see. But I killed every last one of them. And sometimes I could tell they were absolutely terrified of me. There was this headless body walking the corridors, killing everyone. People found out in a hurry. And when they would try to run away from me, I would lock doors so they couldn't. And in retrospect, I realized a lot of them were probably innocent people who were just working there without knowing what was going on. But I had to make sure that that stopped, that wouldn't happen anymore. I had to. So I killed everyone. There was a time where there was a security guard who was absolutely terrified out of their mind. That I could just feel pulsating off of them in waves. And I could also understand, I could feel confusion. They didn't know who I was. They didn't know what had been going on with me. They were terrified. There was a headless corpse outside the door that was trying to get to them, that they'd watched killing their friends. Whoever this guard was, they definitely did not know what was happening to me. They were absolutely confused, and I killed them. I pushed my energy through the door, through this locked bulkhead door, and I neutralized. I didn't overload them, because I could tell they were terrified, and I didn't want to hurt them. I just neutralized every single piece of energy in their body, and they just instantly stopped feeling everything. They just went out like a light. And I try so hard every day not to feel that. So hard. But anyway, I finished pushing through the facility. And I killed everyone I found. And then, even though I didn't have a brain, I didn't have a head, I downloaded straight from the archives into whatever mind I was working with at the time every bit of information that was there. Just straight into me. And I still remember all of it. In that state, I had eidetic memory. I remembered it all. And I left that facility and proceeded to track down everyone I could find that had anything to do with it. If I had gotten their name off of the computer, I found them and I killed them. Not because of vengeance, but because I didn't want to get hurt anymore, and because I didn't want anyone else to get hurt anymore. So I systematically hunted them all down until they started disappearing before I got to them. Of which there were many who disappeared. And when I eventually did regenerate, which was and since I'd forced myself back into my body, regenerating was an excruciating thing. Not in the fact that my body was just sending me mindless pain signals, but it was telling me what was going on the cellular level as I regenerated. as I got my brain back, as I finally encapsulated and was enclosed again. I was whole. And when I was finally whole, again, I had put myself through so much trauma to do everything that I did that I couldn't remember a whole lot of what happened without reaching in to all of that pain and all of that trauma. It was excruciating. And I choose not to every day. I choose not to remember my life before, because I'm also afraid that I was afraid that I was a genetic experiment that they made. And Dr. Lamb's like, no, you're old. And Vala's just like, excuse me? She's just like, I'm not meaning to be rude, but you're old. I can't even tell how old you are, but you are old. And what's more is, I don't see time ever killing you. As far as I can tell, you will never die from old age. There may be something out there that can kill you. I have no idea from what you just told me. That sounds like the freakiest horror story I have ever heard, to have been on the opposite side of that. Absolutely terrifying. But I understand why you would... I understand why you did it. In your shoes, I can't say that I would have done anything differently. But, yeah. I seriously doubt you were made in that lab. While I can't exactly gauge your age, I'd say you're hundreds, if not thousands of years old. You are, like, how long ago did this happen? And Val's just like, a couple hundred years ago. And you just see the Dr. Lamb stare at her for a moment and go, right, anyways, a couple hundred years ago? Really? And Val's just like, yeah. Yeah, I'm old. I know that, but I figured I was a genetic experiment. And she's like, well, if I had to theorize your age, I'd say you're several thousand years old at least. I mean, I'm not an expert in this field, but I wish we could get a sample of your bone tissue to maybe get a better idea of your age. Maybe that would give us a better idea. And I was just like, I'd like to know. But at least now I could probably delve into those memories and maybe try to find out who I am. And Dr. Lamb's like, so you do have access to them? She's like, yes, I have access to those memories. I know who and what. I know... I have access to those memories, but you have to understand, just because pain doesn't work the same way for me as it does for you, when you get cut, your brain just sends you this, and I don't mean to sound rude here, this is just the best word I have for it, this primitive pain signal, just blurred, this, some damage here. When I get cut there, I get told exactly what is wrong on a level that I don't know how to describe. I don't have the words for it. I could say cellular, but it goes deeper than that. It goes deeper than just the cells. I know what's wrong down to a level where there aren't words to describe it yet. And the agony, the absolute agony of that can sometimes be intense. Mind you, just a cut, whatever. I don't even notice. I can have a limb blown off. And I just know exactly what is wrong down the cellular level. And I can even feel every part of my body that's been blown off still. I can feel it. I've even been able to exert control over a blown off limb before. Even after I regenerated the new limb, I could still sense the old one. But I could cut myself off from it. And when I did, it would actually start to decay like a normal thing. It would decay and rot. And Dr. Lamb's like, so it wouldn't regenerate into a new you? And she's like, no. I mean, hypothetically speaking, I could try to regenerate it into another me. Hypothetically. But then I'd be in control of 2 of me. And I have no idea, like, that sounds really... And the doctor's like, yeah, that could probably get confusing. She's like, yeah, to have 2 of myself and to be in control at the same time. That would be really weird. Anyway, so they get deeper into the conversation and talking about Vala's past and all that and theorizing about it. And I'm no scientist, but I heard once that women have a particular gene called, like, they've nicknamed it the Eve gene that's unique to women. Men don't have it, just women. And the reason why they call it, as I said, I'm not a scientist, and I only heard about this once. I read an article about it. It was really cool and fascinating. I don't know if this is true, but I incorporated it in. And the fact that if the Eve gene is real, and, you know, hypothetically, you know, it sort of was a gene that traced back almost... I don't know how to describe this because, once again, not a scientist, but just me hypothesizing, you were able to use the gene to trace back almost as though there was a genetic template of someone who came before or something like that. I don't know. I'm going to stop trying to describe that because I'm botching it up really badly. But one of the things Dr. Lamb says, the Eve gene in you is so pure, is so, for lack of a better word, potent, strong, that if I didn't know better, I'd think you were Eve. And Vala's just like, what do you mean? And Dr. Lamb looks at her and says, if I had to theorize, I'd say you might be the mother of our species. And Vala's just like, wait, what? She's like, I think you might be the mother of our species. I think you might be the first woman. Terrifying as that is to say, looking at your genes, I think you might be. And Vala's just like, okay, that's a lot to take in. And Dr. Lamb's like, once again, not exactly my field, but it's maybe you just developed this gene. I don't know. I'm not a geneticist, but dang. Anyway, that's about all of it. That was basically the entire dream. Mind you, this was all from one scene in the dream. And then my mind just went boom. It just blew outward, just like, I've got to go somewhere with this. And I went into a half-awake state after dreaming that first part that I told you about. And my mind just explored the rest of that story while I was just laying there in bed. Everything I just told you happened in about a half an hour. As my mind was just like, gotta explore everywhere that this can go. And yeah, so if you bared with all of that, thank you. Let me know your thoughts down below. Is this something that you would actually like to see in my universe? Would you like to see this character? Of course, she wouldn't be called Vala, but if I were to ever make a movie, I would totally love Claudia Black to play the character, and the actress for Dr. Lamb. It would be so awesome to see them actually portray that. But, anyway, though, yeah, that's just a pipe dream, but it's fun. It's fun to think about. Anyway, your thoughts down below in the comment section. That would be absolutely awesome. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Hearing from you, especially these days when I am basically a hermit in my house and I'm afraid to go outside and I already have difficulty breathing. Holy terror, especially when I gotta watch what I eat. Hearing from you, it makes my day. It helps me live every doggone day. I love hearing from y'all. Comments, comment down in the section below. Absolutely love to hear from y'all. Anyway, if y'all enjoyed this video, please go ahead and throw it a thumbs up. And if you didn't enjoy this video, well, thanks for sticking around this long. And if you're new to the channel and genuinely enjoy this kind of content, please consider subscribing. In any case, everybody, don't y'all be getting into too much trouble, or do. It's always up to you. Toodles, Legionist.